In this edition of Twisted Tales from Alabama, a Prattville girl goes missing in broad daylight, leaving investigators baffled and turning this seemingly tight-knit community on its head. But before we begin, we would like to take some time to introduce ourselves. We're Twisted Tales from Alabama, where we cover ongoing cases, cold cases, and bone-chilling plots for murder. If you like this kind of content and want more, please subscribe.
Because, like I say, all the kids grow up around here and they ride their bikes, they ride their four-wheelers, and it's not a safe place anymore.
We're taking it pretty rough. I mean, it looks like Candlestick looks like a ghost town. The kids aren't playing like they usually do. Everybody's being real cautious about their children being out on the roads and stuff like that. Shannon's disappearance has really upset the whole community.
Shannon Nicole Paulk was like any other 11-year-old girl. She was happy-go-lucky and friendly with everyone she met. In the summer of 2001, she was spending time with friends in her neighborhood and playing outside. She was a helpful kid to her community, and all the neighbors loved her. Shannon lived in a tight-knit community where everyone knew each other. So how could this happen? On August 16, 2001, Shannon Polk was peacefully sleeping on the couch at her home. Marie, her mother, was up early around 5 a.m. to get Shannon's baby nephew ready to go back to his parents' house. Marie was to drop him off before heading to work. She said she kissed Shannon on her forehead without waking her and left. Shannon was left with her 16-year-old sister that morning. This wasn't out of the ordinary since Shannon's mom and dad were recently divorced, and Dad lived about 2 hours away. Speculation says Shannon was supposed to be grounded that day, but she wound up going out to retrieve a baby walker somewhere in the mobile home park. She specifically wanted to bring it home so that her nephew could play with it the next time he came over. Witness accounts state that she had visited a friend's home nearby that morning around 7:45 a.m.
2001, 11-year-old Shannon started out her summer day as she normally would. After Mom left for work, she got up, had breakfast, and went outside.
This friend said Shannon had asked if she wanted to come out to play with her, but the girl said she couldn't, so Shannon went on her way. This is said to be her first stop before she retrieved the baby walker. Around 9 a.m., Shannon's sister said she woke up and the TV in the living room was blaring. She noticed that Shannon had made herself some breakfast and that she was already gone for the day. At around 10 a.m., Shannon went over to her neighbor's house on Met Street. She stayed with this neighbor for about a half hour or so. Shannon had asked the lady if she could take her up to the gas station so she could buy some candy. She told Shannon she could a little later, but in that moment, her baby was asleep. So she told Shannon to come back later on, and then she would take her. From there, Shannon left for a while and went over to another friend's mobile home around 11:45 a.m. to see if they wanted to come out and play. But this friend was also busy. Those neighbors reported seeing her with the walker. There was a neighbor, Miss Mary, who saw Shannon out of her window over at this friend's house. She saw her knock on their door to talk to them. She then saw Shannon leave with a baby walker to the other side of the pond and over to the Halloween man's house. Miss Mary says that she saw her knock on his door, but he wasn't home. Shannon then walked toward her home and stopped at a police officer's mobile home. A little bit before noon, Shannon knocked on the door, but since his wife was gone, she couldn't come inside. Shannon had a rescue dog staying with his family that she had wanted to visit because she wasn't allowed to keep the dog herself. So, since Mom was gone, Shannon needed to come back at another time. Shannon left this house, and what happens after is a mystery.
No relief.
I just live it every day. And half the time I can't even concentrate on my job because it's in my head every day. What could I have done if I would have been there? And I have lost a few jobs because of it. I just can't function. But I gotta live with it, you know.
When you talk to people about Shannon,
I can't.
you can't talk to anybody about it.
I have people try to talk to me all the time about her. It just tears me up inside. I just can't.
2 months after her disappearance, October 6, 2001, 2 hunters would find her body lying among some garbage. They found the body of a little girl who had been tied up with rope, stuffed into a bag, and found with her underwear around her head. They couldn't be sure at the time, but DNA would later confirm that it was indeed the body of Shannon Nicole Paulk. The FBI came in and put together a profile of a possible suspect once her body was found, to no avail. One thing to think about as well is that there are an alarming number of sex offenders in central Alabama. There were 38 at the time of Shannon's murder, and now a whopping 140 in Prattville alone. There were at least 2 assault offenders living in the neighborhood with Shannon that have been identified: the Root Beer Man and Ty Foster. Speculation of a third living among them. This August 16th in 2024 will be the 23rd anniversary of Shannon's case. It's been an excruciating 23 years for everyone who knew Shannon. Hopefully, this is the year her mom and dad, and those that loved her, find out once and for all who did this. Cases such as these are the inspiration for Twisted Tales from Alabama. While you hold your babies close tonight, please remember that there are very real monsters living among us in all localities. None of us are exempt. And if you have any information that will shed some light on this case or lead investigators to an arrest, please call the Pratville Police Department at 334-595-0208. This has been a cold case episode of Twisted Tales from Alabama. We cover ongoing cases, cold cases, and bone-chilling plots for murder. If you like this type of content and want to help bring an awareness to this kind of violent crimes here in our local state, please share this video with your family and friends and help us build up a community of crime watchers by joining us here at Twisted Tales from Alabama. See you at the Tales.